Everyone. Today is June 21st, 2023. Trading is closed. As always, we'll do our disclaimer, go over our calls, and make some predictions. I've continued to have personal business. I think it may ease up on me pretty soon. Just remember, I don't have enough time as I would like to analyze things, and my calls can be completely wrong. So any trade you make, sure you made at your own risk. Look for the pattern with the early high, which is this, and tomorrow should have the early low. We said if we could maintain the close, yesterday's close at today's open, that we should trade higher even if we didn't close higher. Well, we didn't maintain that. We gapped sharply in the undesired direction, so that idea is killed before the open in accordance with the rules. Early on, we got an ultimate sell signal. We got exactly the minimum that we need. Almost always, we get more than the minimum, and usually pretty quickly. So that's saying there's a high likelihood, but not a requirement, that we trade under today's low pretty soon. We got another ultimate sell signal in the afternoon. We got the minimum, and we've already traded more than the minimum, so that's played out. Now, this is a pattern which usually rallies into the close. And if you just forget this last hour and a half, it looked like it was going to have the normal pattern. But MEJT said this rally was a false move, that prices would not stick, that they would retrace, and they did. So score one for the system. Well, we gapped down, hit a lower low, closed over all the lows. If that's maintained, that's a bullish pattern, should lead to higher prices. Doesn't mean that you close higher. But I'm not so certain that's going to be maintained. This is the FOMC announcement price. Tends to divide markets going up from markets going down. We've tried to break through. We did it once and couldn't hold it. And we're still staying under that price. Now, I don't know where we'll open tomorrow. We open up here, or trade there quickly, all is forgiven. But otherwise, this breakthrough of resistance was rejected. That's now resistance again. You've tested these lows a number of times. No guarantee what will happen overnight, but I would like it if we got follow through. The more times you test this level, the more likely you are to break it. And if we break it, once we trade convincingly and forcefully under this price, 43.73.93, we should trade under it by more than we traded over it. And that takes you under 4,300. And then we have some targets here I'd like to see print. 43.17.52, 42.74.68. That resistance is still holding. But once we get this drop, which is probably going to have some kind of Fibonacci relationship with wave A, once this drop finishes out, ideally under 4,300, that's going to complete your ABC for wave 2 if this is the right count. And if that's true, once we get the next drop, we're going to have a huge wave 3 rally, and that's what I'm waiting for before I put the heavy money into action. Signals are mixed, so we'll use these rules. Tomorrow's pattern has the early low. We could still gap up. Today's pattern usually closes near the high or has a straight line drop. Neither one of those things happen. So the situation should be resolved by gapping smartly as tomorrow's open, because tomorrow's open is a substitute for today's close. And ideally, that should carry prices outside of today's range. Now, it is bullish that we gapped down, hit a lower low, and closed over those lows. If that's maintained, you should see higher prices regardless of how we close. But it's bearish that we're trading into the FOMC announcement price. And usually the commonest thing is to gap and can make a quick move. The ideal situation for me would be a gap down and a follow through, taking this under 4,300 cash doesn't have to happen all in a day. We had the volatility index at another new low today, even though prices dropped. It's kind of unusual because VIX represents what kind of premium option players are willing to pay for puts. And even though prices are dropping, they're not willing to pay much premium for puts. And that optimism deserves to get punished. I just can't say exactly when. In addition to the VIX hitting a new low, we have the failure of today's pattern to close near its high, and if that's maintained at the open, it's quite negative. And the morning ultimate sell, which we showed almost always delivers more than it has so far. So all these things argue for gapping down, having a big drop under 4,300, not necessarily in the day. But until that happens, till we get that gap down, one simply can't rule out gapping and promptly overtaking today's high. I think it's low odds, but anything can happen overnight. I mean, this is pretty negative stuff, but we did hold on to these. And if we can take this out, nothing stops us from going up first, even though I think eventually we're going lower before the big rally comes. I don't think it'll happen, but just because I don't think it will doesn't mean it won't. I don't know how we'll open tomorrow. If we open down here, everything is in gear for a big drop. And if we go up here, I think the inevitable drop is delayed. But this is a corrective wave in the bull market. And once it's over, we're going to, I think, have a real party on the upside. Tomorrow has the early low, and that's today's call.